On today's solo Sunday news, Vince McMahon made a huge last-minute WrestleMania 39 change. There's an update on Rey Fenix's WWE status. Mark Henry signs a WWE Legends deal. And a UFC champion, yep, they want a WWE run. Hello and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling, the solo Sunday news. Myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. I hope your weekend is going as well as possible. My weekend, it's going pretty well. My beloved Wrexham picked up a great 1-0 win over Stockport County yesterday. You love to see it. Go on the town. Anyway, right, to wrestling news, and more specifically, let's take a trip back in time to nearly 2 years ago and to WrestleMania 39. Of course, it was Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns headlining that WrestleMania. That was, Cody coming up short and then being left sat next to a rubber chicken, famously. That is quite the visual. But elsewhere on the card, in fact, it was the match before Cody and Roman. We had Edge taking on Finn Balor in Hell in a Cell. Not just your regular Finn Balor, though, of course, for this was Demon Finn Balor. That'd be the match that was stopped at one point due to how badly busted open Finn was, I believe. If I remember back, I've not seen that match pretty much since it happened, but I'm sure it was a ladder that got thrown at his head, and then, yeah, they kind of stopped the match a bit, and he got, patched up, Staples, I think it was. Anyway, Fightful Select now reports that the original plan for that match was for Finn Balor to win, with Edge himself pushing for Balor to go over in that. However, even though he'd stepped away officially from his WWE role at that time, Vince McMahon still had a say here by all accounts, with Vince wanting Edge to get the win and pushing for that change to happen. This report notes how it's not known whether Balor and Edge were aware of the original plan or the change-up. Talent, they're usually told, in most cases anyway, they're told on the day of the show what's going to happen, who's going to go over. So it might be a case of it never made it through to Finn or Edge that Finn's going over. But no, Vince was pushing for Edge to win. Of course, Edge did win. Now, the original plan, though, like I said, was for Finn Balor to go over. And for those wondering about the Cody Rhodes loss to Roman Reigns there at WrestleMania 39, that was said to have always been the plan. And yes, it was a plan that Vince McMahon was in favor of, I should say. The Raw after WrestleMania 39 as well, that also saw Vince make sweeping changes, with one source at the time comparing him to the Tasmanian Devil. Poor Taz. What a horrendous comparison that is. I used to love the Tasmanian Devil back in the day, man. But yeah, Vince basically tore up the script, ruined the show, and then just stormed off out and went and did whatever. Now the report of Edge wanting to put over Finn Balor, this comes at a time when many people out there are kind of pointing over that, Cope has had very few losses in AEW, and very few losses, at least, that put over younger talent. There's some interesting timing on this one. But speaking of AEW, one now former AEW star who's officially signed with WWE, in case you hadn't guessed it, it is Rey Fenix. For months now, it had been speculated about Fenix heading to WWE. There was going to be Fenix and Penta heading to WWE. Obviously, Penta turned up earlier in the year, has been absolutely kicking all the ass. But with Fenix, there was those rumors that he was finally given his AW release. Then we had those mystery vignettes start up, 2 weeks ago, was it on SmackDown, where there's a masked wrestler who seemingly is on their way in. Not to mention, that masked wrestler just so happens to have some of the same tattoos as Rey Fenix. So yeah, Rey Fenix obviously has been WWE bound now for a while. And Fightful Select Espanol has confirmed that yes, Fenix, in case you hadn't guessed it, has signed with WWE. And yes, the current plan is for Fenix to debut on the SmackDown brand, although there's no news just yet on when that debut will be. Given the fact that these vignettes have been airing now for 2 weeks, is it? You have to imagine it's going to be sooner rather than later that Rey Fenix turns up, although the bigger question, I guess, is whether that debut happens before or after WrestleMania 41. It could even happen at WrestleMania 41, who knows? But it does feel that Phoenix, it feels like it's one of those where it's going to be any week now for me anyway, and I cannot wait, man. And as reported, last week, I think it was last week's Sunday news we did, where it was talked about Rey Fenix at that point was getting his WWE medicals done. So yeah, he's getting himself geared up to come in. And I think for me, keeping Phoenix and Penta apart for now, that could be a smart move if this is indeed true that Phoenix is going to go to SmackDown, and obviously if Penta does stay on Raw. You could have the two together. Lucha Bros, one of the best tag teams on the planet, and would be a shot in the arm for any any tag team division on the planet. But for me, I think keeping them apart for now could be quite smart, just mainly because Penta has been on this great run so far. I say a great run, it's not been nothing massively newsworthy, but just in terms of presentation, he's been made to feel like a big deal, and he's just racking up a few wins here and there before he gets involved in something properly more meaty. Maybe that is Braun Breaker and the Intercontinental title. But yeah, I think for me with Penta, if you handle him correctly right now, you've got possibly like a proper main event single star there. So if you put him in a tag team already, even though the Lucha Bros are amazing. I think you let Penta crack on his own for a bit. And I mean, Rey Fenix does not have the charisma of his brother, but in ring, he's one of the most exciting wrestlers on the planet. And he's one of those wrestlers where you can just put him in there and wrestle, and the things he will do, his in-ring work will get him over with any crowd, even if they're not familiar with Fenix. So for me, I think it's quite smart if they do keep them apart. Plus, you can always have that proper Lucha Bros run down the line. What a tag team, man. What a tag team. But from one person who's now signed with WWE to another, and it's Mark Henry. Yes, Mark Henry has signed a new WWE Legends deal, or as Mark put it, a nostalgia deal. Now, as part of this, Mark is also getting some new Mattel action figures, as reported by Ringside Collectibles, and they kind of put out there of what action figure would you like to see, what version of Mark Henry, and there was a lot for the salmon jacket man, the retirement, the fake retirement. What an angle, an all-timer. I mean, yeah, you could go with a proper full-on Hall of Pain Mark Henry as well, because that's always absolutely badass. But when you know it, Big Mark, he actually made this announcement during Sweet Chin Disco in Belfast yesterday, which took place after the first leg of our WhatCulture Wrestling World Tour, which of course continues in Glasgow tomorrow night. Now, for Mark Henry, this marks the first time in 4 years that he's officially contracted to WWE in any sort of official capacity. Now, there was, of course, a 3-year run with AEW, but that came to an end last year. Since then, Mark has popped up on Raw back in, I think it was August, around about August, September. There was a Raw from Austin, Texas, and he was shown there in the crowd with his son, Jacob. For those not aware, of course, Jacob Henry has already signed a WWE NIL deal, so who knows, maybe we'll be seeing him in a WWE ring at some point down the line. Regardless, it looks like we're probably going to be seeing a little bit more Mark Henry for now anyway, and that is always a good thing with me, man. I mean, those under Legends deal, normally they pop up in the documentaries. I was going to say the network specials, but I guess it's Netflix specials now. The magazine type shows, they pop up on there. I mean, Mark Henry as well has already been confirmed to be part of a DLC pack for WWE 2K25, the review of which is on somewhere else on the channel, or review of WWE 2K25. Go and check it out if you're thinking about buying that game. If you already got it, let us know how you're getting on with it. And while somebody's going to get their ass kicked, that was always a mantra of Mark Henry's. It's also a mantra these days of interim UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall. Now, Tom Aspinall, I'm not going to go into full MMA nerd here, but Tom Aspinall basically has been very desperate to fight anyone right now. The bigger point is him and John Jones, but that fight it's one of them where it seems like it's going to happen and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And Tom Aspinall is cutting an extremely frustrated figure. If it's not John Jones, he just wants to fight anybody right now. Johnny Bones is being, well, Johnny Bones with the ball very much in his court. But during a recent interview with the Schmo, who is absolutely fantastic, man. If you've got an interest in MMA or WWE, the Schmo is just such an entertaining interview. And it's only short interviews. It's like 5-6 minutes. Just he did a recent one with Steve Austin that was absolutely great. But the Schmo recently did an interview with Tom Aspinall. And Tom Aspinall talked about, as amongst, his frustrations with just wanting to fight, he also talked about his WWE interest. As he called it, WWE is his retirement plan for when he's done with MMA. Now, Tom Aspinall he's got plenty of years in the tank to paraphrase Mark Henry there, still as a UFC fighter, as an MMA fighter. But, I mean, he's definitely got the charisma and the size that could nicely transition over to, say, a WWE. But not just did he say that he's weighing up WWE as his retirement plan, but he singled out Cody Rhodes, yes, saying how Cody is his guy and that they will have a match one day. So, as per Tom Aspinall, that match will happen one day. He also suggested a tag match of him and Cody Rhodes against John Jones and John Cena. And this comes after Cody Rhodes as well has publicly stated how he's backing Tom Aspinall should that fight with John Jones ever actually happen. Just make it happen, Bones. Come on. But Aspinall is clearly a fan of the American Nightmare, and that is reciprocated by Cody back to Tom Aspinall as well. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on, I think, down the line. Because, I mean, I think, to me, I always go back to, I heard his name rumoured for the Hall of Fame in the week, and I don't think there's anything official behind it, but Ken Shamrock, I go back to that, just the impact that he had coming over from MMA into WWE, and just even like the tap out finish, the influence of that and stuff, which people maybe overlook, because back in my day, it was just a case of people didn't tap out, they just kind of verbally submitted, I guess, for most of the time. But anyway, that's me. I'm going to stop waffling here, because I waffle for an age about UFC and about the whole Aspinall Jones situation. I will instead shut up, because you're here for wrestling chatter, not MMA chatter. And so with that, this has been WhatCulture Wrestling. I've been Andrew Pollard. Be well, be safe, take care of yourself, and I will be back next weekend. I think I'll be back next weekend. Yeah, I'll be back next weekend. Be well, have a good one. Go on the town.